This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know this because we have established this over the years. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, June the 18th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Oh, yes. Radio Big is sarcasm. Yeah, I kind of think I already knew that. I kind of hang out over there quite a bit. I don't think I should be surprised by any level. So anyways, how have you been? How's the last 24 hours or so been? How have you been doing with your life? Always important. Please don't text me to let me know that it's Friday Junior in your book. Don't care. No, seriously, I never understand why people call it that because it's not really junior or anything. It's still a full 24. So anyways, let's talk about what our show consists of. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of what we do, what we talk about, and how we kind of go through everything that is happening. So with that being said, if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. What is that again? callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options that you'll get right away, immediately available to you. And then once you get there, boom, I get a prompter on the screen, and then I know what to do. We know how to move forward. We know how to do the things, the lingo and the bingo, if you get it. So there you go. That is the whole kit and caboodle of the whole thing. And that's it. That's kind of how we do our stuff. So we talk about safety in the news. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They tell us about what the hell's going on, and then we move along. And then we say, hey, life is grand. Life is beautiful. Life is what exactly you want it to be. It's a good time. Not joking as I say that. So there you go. So what I will do is I will bring in my friends from Feature Story News. They will tell us about what the hell's going on inside of the multiverse of ours. And then we'll move on from there. So if you're good with this, I'm definitely good with it as well, where we can get moving and then just start talking about everything that's going on inside of the news cycle. Why would you not want to know what's going on? Some people go, well, why do you talk so much about the news? Well, we talk about the news because that way you just don't go directly into a meeting and be like, hey, this is the This is the stuff we haven't been doing. Article number 253272. That kind of stuff. You have something going on inside of the world of what's happening in the real world before you go into that mess. So with that being said, let's do the news right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, Amni Hapunia. US President Donald Trump and Iran's president have digitally signed a 14-point memorandum of understanding to end the war between the US, Israel and Iran. The deal calls for an immediate ceasefire, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and the lifting of sanctions on Iranian oil exports. President Trump has warned the agreement is not final and the US could resume military action if talks fail. A further round of negotiations is going to begin in Switzerland on Friday, with those talks expected to conclude within 60 days. Kate Fisher has more.
They are keen to concentrate on talking about sanctions relief and their nuclear program, but not on their missile program or indeed their regional alliances. That is what they're going to be focusing on over the next 60 days. But clearly here in the US, there are many Iran hawks who are concerned that this deal is not good enough for the United States. As for what Tehran is saying, they seem to be very happy about this deal, calling it a case of national pride and the terms of it a record of American failure. They are pleased about the fact that sanctions are being lifted on their oil exports, that there is going to be an unfreezing of some of their frozen assets, and the fact that the naval blockade that the US had enforced on their ports has now been lifted.
The US president says his trip to the G7 summit was a great success. Even as French President Emmanuel Macron said, the gathering showed true cooperation at a time of global divisions. Ross Cullen filed this report from the summit location.
On the final day of the G7 summit, the US president introduced himself by saying, "I'm the boss," and he was certainly in a more positive mood ahead of the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Washington and Tehran, a marked contrast from the last G7 in Canada when Donald Trump abruptly walked out.
Maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has already increased very substantially, and the normal flow of energy will resume in the coming days, and trillions of dollars will be made by the world.
A court in India's capital, New Delhi, is hearing social media company Telegram's plea challenging a government ban. Indian officials have banned Telegram till next week in what they say is an effort to protect the integrity of the National Medical Undergraduate Entrance exam being held on Sunday, as Ishan Garg tells us from New Delhi.
The government says that there isn't anybody in the country who has access to the question papers for this undergraduate medical entrance exam, and they say that anybody who is trying to sell question papers or guess papers, as they are called, which promise to sell students questions as they would appear finally in the exams, have to be fake, and they are warning students against this practice, saying that this time the exam is going to be completely foolproof.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at the ceasefire extension agreement that Iran and the US are due to sign in Switzerland on Friday. Is it worth the paper it's written on?
It's all very tenuous, like everything else about this war. You're not sure whether any of these elements will stick.
Leon Panetta is a former US Defense Secretary and veteran of the Clinton and Obama administrations.
The good news is the straits are open. We're able to remove the blockade, and that the ceasefire is going to be extended for 60 days. The bad news is that we've virtually given Iran total control of the Straits of Hormuz, which gives them a tremendous amount of leverage and a tremendous influence in the Middle East for the future. Secondly, Israel is not part of this agreement. They've made that clear. And if they're not part of this agreement, I'm not sure you can hold a ceasefire together. And lastly, all of these other issues are going to have to be dealt with in 60 days of negotiation. That's a very short time frame in order to resolve, particularly the nuclear issues, which demand a tremendous amount of very complex approaches in order to guarantee that they do not achieve a bomb.
Other observers fear the signing ceremony on Friday will see the US legitimize an Iranian regime that the war was designed to topple. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. US President Donald Trump and Iran's president have digitally signed a 14-point memorandum of understanding to end the war between the US, Israel and Iran. The deal calls for an immediate ceasefire, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and the lifting of sanctions on Iranian oil exports. Meanwhile, President Trump says his trip to the G7 summit was a great success, even as France said the gathering showed true cooperation. And that is the latest feature story news. Neha Punia reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Our station is so big that you don't have to do much to make it work for you. Radio Big.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. J. Allen, Ph.D., host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. Spitballing and pitballing is exactly what we do around here. Currently 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. So let's start talking right away about some of the things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. because that's kind of what we do around here. So let's do this. Let's talk about it. Let's move. Let's groove. And let's go down the path here, because I figured that this is going to be important to talk about. So let's talk about this one, because we're going to, come in
hot off the presses
in regards of what's going on. So take a listen to this one. A Connecticut lifeguard morning took an unexpected turn when a Tesla crashed through a fence and headed into a public swimming pool before it even opened for the day. Lifeguard at the Steve Benko pool in Waverly Park jumped into the water to check on the driver, while first responders broke the window and removed him from the submerged vehicle. The driver told the police that he was trying to park when the car suddenly accelerated into the pool. Though it's still unclear whether the cause of the driver error or mechanical malfunction. The driver escaped without serious injury, but the Tesla had to be hauled out of the pool, which will be remain closed for the next several days while it's drained, cleaned, and then refilled. So Tesla just unveiled the first deep water parking assist portion. I mean, I don't know. And then the driver misunderstood the sign and said no diving. Tesla says it's an electronic vehicle, but not an amphibious one. So there's a lot of stuff going on right there. What do you think here? I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that car would have just done the weirdness on its own, but who knows? Who knows these days? Whoever knows about what's going on. So how serious do you want to get? Do you want to get serious business right away, or do we want to kind of take it slow before we do anything crazy? Because I have to tell you this one. You are aware that some people do like banana flavor. Not like the bananas itself. I mean, if that's what you're into, cool. But I'm talking about banana flavored stuff. I will tell you, here at Universal Studios, they sell banana flavored popcorn. I think it's disgusting, but that's just me. I'm not a minion, though. So with that being said, take a listen to this. M&M is giving banana bread the candy treatment with a new limited edition banana nut bread flavor. The candy combines banana bread inspired taste with milk chocolate and crunchy peanut, and it comes in 9-ounce sharing size bags. The new flavor is available for a limited time at Kroger's affiliated stores and online while supplies last. Although the candy has a subtle banana flavor, the ingredient list doesn't include real bananas. It relies on natural and artificial flavoring. The launch follows the M&M's recent bakery collection, which also features peanut butter cinnamon roll, lemon meringue pie, cherry chocolate cupcake flavor chosen by fans. So what do you think? Is this something you would really try? I mean, maybe that's really the other direction we need to go with this, because I find it very interesting. Like, I don't know if this is something that I would go to. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the Cheesecake Factory. I'm not saying anything wrong with them. I mean, they're great. Great food place. A lot of options. But you get to the portion where you're supposed to eat the cheesecake. And let me explain to you what my dilemma is here. Nothing against cheesecake. But you are aware that you can get a cheesecake that tastes like a Snickers bar. Now, there are cheesecakes around $10 to $13, depending on what you're going with. So I can get a $3 candy bar or a $2 candy bar at the store that tastes just like a Snickers, because it is a Snickers. Or I can go to the Cheesecake Factory and buy a $10 to $13 cheesecake that ends up tasting like the $2 to $3 candy bar. Do you understand how that makes no sense to me? Why would I just not want the real thing? I'm just asking, because it becomes very weird.
Duh.
I'm just asking, or just saying, what do you think overall?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
I'm just saying, just think about that for a moment. So I'm going to tell you about this. So things are getting stranger and stranger. You are aware there's these stores out there like Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Dollar this, Dollar that, and then the prices did not stay at $1. You are familiar with this, right? So because of inflation and everything going on, prices have changed. So let's talk about this, because I think it's interesting. Dollar General is putting the dollar back in the name by expanding the selection of products priced for $1 or less. CEO
Todd Vasos
says shoppers will now find more than 2,000 items at or below $1 price point as the retailer responds to customers looking for bigger savings. The chain began moving beyond the dollar model in 2019, introducing $1.25, $3, $5, and $7 items to broaden its product selection. But with inflation and high gas prices driving more bargain hunters, including higher income shoppers, into its stores, Dollar General is emphasizing lower price options. The retailer is also expanding the frozen food offering with a new $1 selection called Value Valley, featuring more than 500 rotating products. Dollar General says that it will continue growing the private label Clover Valley, a brand, and plans to open 450 new stores this year. Holy shit, that's a lot of stores. And it comes into a total of 21,000 locations over 48 states. I did not realize they have that many stores. That's definitely something to think about as we are talking. No doubt about that.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this one because I just think it's interesting. Are you going somewhere tropical this year? Are you going somewhere where there might be a lot of sun? I got something for you. Somebody sent this in, and I figured that I would share it. If you get a sunburn, try this. Smooth a thin layer of coconut oil over your sunburned skin for instant relief. The kitchen staple contains healthy fats that soak into damaged tissue to dampen the inflammation. It locks in the moisture and encourages the growth of healthy new skin cells. There you go. So just carry a bottle of coconut oil with you around. I'm just saying. Some stuff to think about. Okay, I guess I should get into some serious business here for a few moments. Are you familiar with Rex Huberman? Has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murders tied into the Gilgo Beach serial killings. During sentencing, the judge called Rex a disgusting and despicable man and a coward. Earlier this year, Rex admitted to strangling 8 women over a 17-year period. Family members of the victims applauded as the sentence was handed down. Rex was arrested in 2023 after years of investigation into the notorious case. So there you go. Talking about some other weird cases that are going on.
This one is strange.
This one is strange.
This one is strange. Okay, so I gave you this one is strange 3 times because it is strange. So take a listen to this. Luigi Mangione, that a lot of people seem to think that was good looking. I mean, hey, that's your deal. Expected to argue that he was suffering from extreme emotional disturbance. At the time, the prosecutor said that he fatally shot Brian Thompson in New York in December of 2024. If he's convicted in the state case and the defense succeeds, he could be committed to a state psychiatric facility instead of a prison. A judge has ordered the Mangione attorney to submit documentation supporting the psychiatric defense. The judge also admitted that one weapon charge involving a high-capacity ammunition magazine and reaffirmed that earlier ruling excluding some of the evidence, including a cell phone and a passport, while allowing prosecutors to use the alleged murder weapon and a notebook recovered from the backpack. Mangione also faces several federal charges. A federal judge has already ruled that the prosecutors will not seek the death penalty, and New York does not have capital punishment. This is the latest court hearing, was delayed by one day, because of the paperwork error acknowledged by the prosecutors. So there you go. What do you think? I mean, I find it very interesting, not going to lie here, in regards of it, because look, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? I mean, look at it from the weird side here. This is what's going on. This is the information that we're given. And then all of a sudden now we're going to take a look at this and go, okay, this is slightly different. I mean, it just gets weird right away because at no point had you heard anything about this psychiatric defense. And I'm not saying that it's right and I'm not saying that it's wrong. So let's not go down that rabbit hole there for just a brief moment in time. I think we know better than that.
Duh.
So there's something to think about. Okay, so let's take a listen to this one real quick. Well, not a lesson. Let me discuss it with you. A suspected shoplifter or shoplifting call at Walmart in Senatobia. And in a tragedy when a police shot into a fleeing vehicle, killing a 1-year-old. Cohen Wiley. According to the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, officers were responding to a theft report when they encountered 2 adults and a child leaving the scene. Investigators say that the driver accelerated towards the officer, nearly striking one of them, prompting an officer to fire at the vehicle. The child's family disputes that parts of the incident. Civil rights attorney Bren Crump says Cohen's mother tried to tell the officer the baby was in the car and insisted that she was not involved in any of the theft. A family friend in the vehicle was critically injured, and while Cohen later died at the hospital, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is handling the case. The officers who fired the shot has been placed on administrative leave, and authorities say that body camera and surveillance video will not be released until the investigation is complete and any charges and decisions have been made. So think about that for a moment. Let's kind of go both sides here. So let's say, for instance, the people that were leaving in the car were not involved, and all of a sudden they get shot at and the kid gets killed, which that's exactly what just happened. How does this come about? That's going to be the first thing. And number 2, let's use the hypothetical here. So if the car was rushing towards the police officer, I think that it was correct what they decided to do. Now, if the police officer was not being approached by the car with the intention of hitting, and they were firing at somebody because of a potential shoplifting, that could potentially cause an issue. I'm just saying, think about it here for a moment, because you know how this goes. If they shot at someone because they were stealing, that's going to be a different story.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
What did I say? What did I say? I'm just sharing here. Let's be realistic. Let's calm it down a little bit. Okay, so 27 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's continue talking real quick. President Trump said that the U.S. could resume bombing Iran if the country fails to honor the new memorandum of understanding that is called the Trump deal. Really? That's what the deal's called? Okay, speaking of a new conference in France, Trump said that the agreement is intended to ensure that Iran never develops a nuclear weapon and that the Strait of Hormuz remains open. He added that without the deal, military action could have continued for weeks or even years. Trump also defended allowing Iran access to some of the frozen assets, saying that the money belongs to Iran and that could only be available if the country complies with the agreement. He stressed that the U.S. is not giving Iran new money and said that sanctions could still be used if necessary. During a news conference, Trump called the question about deadly strikes in the Iranian girls' school strange, saying that the incident remains under investigation and that mistakes are made during war. He also offered rare criticism of Israel, saying that it has the right to defend itself, but should show more restraint in its conflict with Hezbollah, adding that he feels it's sorry for the people of Lebanon after decades of turmoil. So what do you think here? Because weren't they just saying on the news stories that $300 billion
with a B
was going to be given to help rebuild? Now, I found it odd. Let's not lie here, because I was talking about it yesterday. But man, sounds different than the day before, but I guess we'll see what exactly happens when everything gets released. I kind of have a hard time sometimes believing what's going on with some of the stuff, because, I mean, if I go back to a few months ago, at least it feels like a few months ago at this point, I thought it was like a one day and done type of thing based on what the president had said. But now it's something different. So I don't know. I can't ever keep up. I'm not saying that things can't change. I'm not saying that. But it gets weird when you try to go, huh? Hold on, I thought it was over. And then it was over, and then it was over, and then it was over several times, and it still then wasn't over. It got weird. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this one. Researchers are making and encouraging strides in the fight against cancer with a personalized mRNA therapy from Merck and Moderna, showing that it can significantly reduce the risk of melanoma returning over a 5-year period when combined with, let's see, I'm going to try to say the name of this drug, a drug called Keytruda. The progress comes as Joaquin Dualto says that pharmaceutical industry is aiming for an ambitious goal, eliminating cancer within the next decade. Speaking at a leadership summit in London, Dualto pointed that the major advances in treatment, like those with multiple melanoma, when patients who once had only a few years to live are now surviving decades or more. He also highlighted new therapies that harness a patient's own immune system to attack cancer. With some who had exhausted all treatments, options remaining in remission for more than 5 years after the single treatment. While experts caution that there's still a long road ahead, they say the recent breakthrough suggests that cancer care is entering a new era. Not a new era, a new era. So let's see what happens. If this breakthrough does occur, I mean, it will change everything in regards to how people look at this whole thing. So that would be great if it does end up happening in the long run. Think about it for just a moment there. It is one of those things that you never know what can happen in the long run.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM. Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, main story time. Time to do that part of the show that we talk about and talk about the things that are going on inside of the industry, inside of the world, inside of the weirdness that happens inside of everything that happens. So today I would love to have a little briefy conversation with you in regards of looking at the industry, looking at some of the stuff that you get to do and some of the things that you look at and some of the certifications and things that are out there along those lines. So I want to tell you a brief story, and it's not a story that is a made-up story. It's definitely a story that of something that occurred. But many moons ago, let's see, what are we looking at here? Let's say, give or take, about 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to be at one of these large fancy conventions. Not a problem. I was there as one of the podcasters, if I could say it that way, radio show host that I would throw down my my Rodecaster Pro, or Rodecaster at the time, or whatever recording device I had at the time, and I would throw it down and try to do some recordings. I might have been carrying the Zoom little recorder at the back of those days. And I would go around and try to interview people that were inside of the safety world. This is when we were first building out Safety FM. And I remember going to one of these large, well, we'll say prominent conferences before I understood how exactly some of them worked. And I was there because, hey, I wanted to help promote what some of the industry people were doing. Of course, some little agenda in the background of, by me promoting, it would help promote the station. Not a problem with any of that. And I remember that I was going to go talk to some of the main people at this one conference. Now, keep in mind that at this particular point in time, I think that by the time that I had registered for the event, I was still using my letter designations that I was assigned by people back in those days. Now, I will tell you I don't believe that I had completed the doctorate or had the piece of paper yet that said that I had that yet. So I was still using my World Service Organization or World Safety Organization, my WSO stuff. And I was a certified safety and service director or something along those lines. And I would have that on my name badge. Not a problem. It's something that I did because, hey, I did the same thing that I saw other people do. Have every letter under the sun that I could list. But that was the main one, so I would make sure that that was listed behind my name because I thought it was important. To some people, it is the equivalent of a CSP, which I refused to even get back then, but we'll leave that for a different conversation. So with the designation of a World Safety Service Director, or Safety and Security Director is what it is, that is kind of a higher one. You've been involved in the industry for some period of time. Now, when I went to this meeting to go ahead and sit down and do the interview, the person that was working, we'll say, quote unquote, the kiosk/booth that was supposed to bring the people to me, saw the designation on my lanyard that it did not belong to the event that I was attending. So the designation did not come from their organization, which technically they say that the designation doesn't come from their organization because they have an external body that actually does everything. But we'll leave that for a different thing. So the lady turns around and tells me, I have some bad news. We will not be able to provide any interviews for you. And I was like, what? I'm kind of confused. We agreed on doing this. Well, we can't do it because you have a designation from a different company, from a different organization. And I got so thrown off by the whole thing that all of a sudden we could not have a conversation because I had a designation from a different compliance body at the time. Now, I think it's interesting because if I would have had the stupid PhD listed at the time, or if I would have already had it by then, maybe that would have been an interesting thing too, because, hey, how are you going to do this? So from that particular point on, I was told that they could not do anything because of this. Now, the funny part is that a few weeks later, I was talking to somebody else on one of their boards, and they did everything under the sun to move to make sure that I would be able to do interviews with them. And they apologized profusely over this, but I thought it was hilarious at the time. So this would be like me coming in from a Ford dealership or working for Ford and going into a Chevy dealership, and I'm not picking on either one, let's make sure that we're clear. And all of a sudden I'm saying that I could not talk to anybody because I worked at the competitor. And I wasn't working for anybody. But because I drove whatever, all of a sudden this did not work. Now, here's where it gets weird. I have always had an issue with things since that particular moment in time. When it comes to how the people go so hardcore on the basis of their belief systems. So when I talk to somebody about behavior-based safety, you can't mention anything about HOP without them freaking out. Vice versa. With the people that know about HOP, if you talk about behavior-based safety. And we can use multiple examples as we continue to go forward. What I do not understand is why are we at the point that we choose not to have these conversations, but then we go on to the shop floor, then we go out into the marketplace, and we're talking to people and say, hey, listen to what I have to say, but I kind of refuse to listen to other people if things are not going the way that I want. So at the end of the day, you are never going to be able to improve the system if you are not willing to listen. And what pisses me off until this day about this whole thing is that you cannot go around and say to people that we need to be a learning organization, and then all of a sudden you see designations from somewhere else and go, can't do it. Can't talk to anybody. So I'm not calling this sour grapes, but I look at it from the standpoint is you have to practice what you preach. You can't turn around and say one thing and then do absolutely something totally different. And believe me, sometimes when you take a look around in this industry, that shit happens a lot more than what you think. where people are like, oh, yes, I am one of these people that I will take a listen to everything that is going on. But then when it's all said and done, they will not do that. And when it's coming from some of these bigger organizations, and then when it comes from some of these
top safety speakers,
you all of a sudden start questioning a lot of the stuff that's going on inside of the industry. Think about that. Now, seriously, give that some serious consideration before you do anything.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
They're good. They're very funny.
They're hilarious. They just be whoever they want to be.
It's just really funny.
Rated R Safety Show. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Time for years. I tried my hand at solitude. It's like I'm destined to pursue how to talk to you. I've been late to the game, I've been playing, I've been holding my cards, but nothing to show.
Okay, here we go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. As you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday.
Doors always closed, there is no way.
Yeah, this right here. Song artist is Neighbor. Song titled, I Want to Go Home. Song is readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. I would strongly encourage you to give it a little streamer-emer action. We would like to thank the neighbor here for allowing us to play this. Not really my real neighbor, just in case. Or the station neighbor, because, you know, not sure how much those people love us. So there you go. Thanks for Neighbor for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that as we are hanging out. Okay, so let's continue talking. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now. Things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. It's all the way on the far right-hand corner, just in case. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. I'm going to tell you, once you get there, there's a little bit about everything. And I mean, here's like, they even have like statistics of things that are going on. It's very interesting on how this website has compiled all of this information. Just take a look around, see what applies. Some people will go, hey, this is not for me. That's okay. Having the information is very important. Information is power, so keep that in mind. So just remember that as you are going forward. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse, no doubt about that. TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Okay, so let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about this. If you have not heard, we have a little event coming up in Orlando here on July the 13th, which is a Monday. Just to be clear, this is not a virtual event. This is all happening in person. So we're calling it Reality Shifts, an observational symposium. People that will be there in person will be Todd Conklin talking about human and organizational performance. Nick Weatherly will be there talking about behavior-based safety. And I will be there talking about Signal. Also, because we're doing this in a totally different place than what we normally do it at. We're doing it inside of a movie theater. And not one of those high-end movie theaters. This is a movie theater that actually has office chairs and tables in it. So this way we can do some interactions as we are doing some of the stuff. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. And this will be taking place at the Aloma Cinema Grill on July the 13th in Orlando. With that being said, I want you to keep this in mind. We will watch a documentary on the day of the event. So we'll do a combination of things as we are hanging out. So, safetyfm.io or scan the little QR code that's right there on the screener. The reason we're doing it on a Monday, that way you can hang out in Orlando over the weekend if you want to do so. That's an opportunity. That's an option. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, I do have John Small waiting in the wing, wanting to talk about the Motivation Minute. So if you're good with that, I am good with it, and we'll bring in some John Small right now.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by David. Anne Frank said, "How wonderful is it that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world?" Yes, this is a very good point. Where I live, we're in the middle of election season. And I think it's interesting when politicians are running for office and they make promises to make this change or that change. Now, sometimes it's a politician running for re-election, and they make promises like this. And I've always wanted to ask, why wait? In my world, if something needs to be done, we just do it. I don't need to wait until after an election. If it's a good idea, and if people seem to like it, why wait until the election? Again, some of these people are not in office and they can't make changes until they get there. But some are there now. Just do it. I've implemented good ideas the very first day the changes were possible. Apparently, I'm just not patient. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Political and legal battles over election procedures continued after a federal court declined to halt a contested executive order.
The ruling leaves broader challenges unresolved, while implementation questions remain under review. Additional court proceedings are expected in the months ahead. Liam White reporting.
A fragile diplomatic opening in the Middle East is drawing attention after a new framework agreement between the United States and Iran.
Officials outlined plans for a 60-day negotiating period and renewed shipping access. The proposal now faces difficult talks over security issues, sanctions, and long-term regional stability. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Fresh strikes in southern Lebanon underscored continuing tensions, even as international leaders urged a broader regional ceasefire.
Israeli attacks targeted Hezbollah positions, while armed exchanges continued near the border. Diplomats are pressing for calmer conditions as negotiators pursue a more durable agreement. Gary Beck reporting.
World leaders gathering in France presented a united front on Ukraine while promising stronger pressure on Russia's economy as the war continues.
Wednesday's summit produced a joint pledge backing Ukraine's territory and sovereignty. Leaders also signaled tougher energy and financial sanctions aimed at increasing pressure on Moscow. Chris Anderson reporting.
Federal investigators announced criminal charges after disrupting an alleged plot targeting a large public event near the White House.
Authorities said suspects planned coordinated attacks involving drones and other weapons. Prosecutors are moving forward while investigators continue examining possible connections and motives. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Rising energy costs linked to recent Middle East fighting remained a major concern for leaders meeting at the annual summit.
Higher oil prices have added inflation pressure across several major economies. Policymakers are watching supply chains closely while weighing the risks to growth. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A dispute over intelligence leadership continued in Washington as lawmakers debated national security authorities and executive branch appointments.
Several senators criticized efforts to delay a confirmation hearing for a key nominee. The disagreement is adding uncertainty to broader intelligence and surveillance debates. Kyle Norris reporting.
Housing and borrowing costs remained in focus as economic officials signaled caution about the path of interest rates.
Recent data pointed to weaker home construction activity and ongoing inflation concerns. Financial markets are watching for clues about future policy decisions. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff still going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we are hanging out for sure. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, if you do not mind me doing so, of course, because I think that always it's important to talk about this day in history. Why would we not do that? That is for sure. So with that being said, let's get into it right away. Back in 1873, Susan B. Anthony fined $100 for attempting to vote for president. That happened in 1873. In 1979, Billy Martin becomes the Yankees manager for the second time, replacing Bob Lemon. In 1981, the AIDS epidemic is formally recognized by medical professionals in San Francisco. And then in 2018, Clarence Clemens died. Yeah, that happened back on this date. So there you go. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today, if you do not mind, of course. Today, Paul McCartney turns 84. Carole King, 74. Isabella Rossellini turns 74 as well. Eddie Sabian turns 53. And Blake Shelton turns 50 today. Turns 50. Why did I think that guy was older? I don't know why I thought that, but I did. So there you go. Some things to talk about, no doubt about that. Okay, so let's talk real quick about some things that you ought to know, because some people will be talking about this for the next little bit. That is for sure. Tropical storm Arthur has become the first named storm of 2026 Atlantic hurricane season after forming in the Gulf of Mexico. While it's only packing 40 miles per hour winds, forecasters say it's the biggest threat of heavy rainfall, with parts of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the Southeast expected to see flooding rains to become life-threatening. Arthur is a forecast to make landfall in Texas-Louisiana border before slowly pushing east, keeping the flood threat alive as it moves inland. So what do you think here? There you go. Sleep Number has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in New York, citing its $672 million debt along with inflation, tariffs, and supply chain problems. Smart Bed Company plans to sell off its business of Sleep Country Canada, creating a larger North American mattress retailer. Sleep Number says the customers can continue shopping, receiving deliveries, and using warranties at Smart Bed services as restructuring moves move forward. So Sleep Number filed for bankruptcy. Apparently the credit score wasn't very restful. Their Sleep Number is now Chapter 11, is what it sounds like to me as we are talking. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse, no doubt about that. Okay, take a listen to this real quick. The New York Knicks will become the first NBA team to visit President Trump at the White House during the appearance of Craig Carton's show. Knicks owner James Dolan revealed that the team had accepted an invitation to go to the White House. So there you go. And last but not least, here are last night's winning Powerball numbers. Jackpot was $283 million, 326, 49, 53, 61. Powerball was 12, and Power Play was 2. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. Okay, and one more thing. If you have been thinking about buying a new iPhone, iPad, Mac, or Apple Watch, you may not want to wait too long. Apple CEO Tim Cook says that price increases are on the way because the company can no longer absorb soaring costs of memory and storage chips. Cook said that has worked hard to shield customers from the higher prices, but called the situation unsustainable. He didn't say which product will cost more, but when the increases will begin, but indicated that Apple's lineup could eventually be affected. The higher costs are being driven largely due to global demand of AI technology, which has put enormous pressure on supply chain or key computing devices. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to end our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't want to go over there, you can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Spend time with people who matter and on things that truly matter to make your life better. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.